Greedy, selfish motherfuckers. There's a lot of salt in me today. You know, had piss poor internet from the time that I left this house all the way up to when I was fighting this stream that I did earlier. But the good news is this render, after feeling really salty and deciding to have some dinner, I started feeling bad about myself and shit, and I figured, just not worth it. You just get into that pissy mood. You just kind of let it chill out. And the way I let it chill out is just take a step back for a bit, come back, work on something I enjoy working on. So I finished it. There were a couple of minor adjustments here, mainly just in the expression, and I enhanced her irises, and I had to do some other work in here. Nothing. Everything was just very. So we have the saved image here, and I'm just going to load it up. So this is your finished render. It's not a finished image; it's a finished render. So this is a final render pass, and I'm going to add effects to the staff here. And really, I'm thinking that's about it. What I'm gonna go through first here is just to make sure that everything in this image looks okay. I'm looking for poke through, or as you may also say, clipping. Let's get this going here. I just point out little areas that I want to work on. So you can see right here. Come on, get down. Add a transparency this time. There's clipping here. It's way too fat. Probably because of the brush. Brush is okay. There's clipping here. So I'm going to work on that. And what else do I see here? Looking at her foot placement, but I really don't think it's going to be that bad. This area here I might work on, get a little bit darker around the edge. So this edge right here. And what else am I looking at? Okay, this area is actually okay. I was afraid there might have been some clipping there. I could be picky about this area if I so choose, but I'll probably pass. Also, it's just there's a lag going on with pulling this viewport around. Sometimes I would work on that, but the colors in there are even enough that I'll just leave that alone. As an oversight, well, let's see. I added a light to highlight her face more. But what happened here was, since I was brightening up her teeth, and I added this light here, and it made the tongue really bright. So I may or may not change that. I'm not quite sure yet. There's a little bit of clipping. Come on, drag, you can do it. Gosh, if it's not one thing, it's another. There's a little bit of clipping there. It's a little bit here. Um, other than those minor details, now I'm looking at, I'm thinking that this here is just a normal part of her arm kind of sticking through. Or not, I don't mean through, I mean, um, it's behind breast, but it may look like there's clipping. So I'm on the fence about that. It's not something that a typical person would really notice. But we'll if I get picky, I may get back to that. So really there's just a couple of small details I'm going to work on. So let's see here. Be checking OBS periodically just to make sure everything's okay. My internet was it turned out to be, I normally get 30 down and 5 up. And right after I wrapped up the stream, I just went and did a little investigating. I usually go to speedtest.com. I know speedtest isn't entirely truthful, but it did say that my down speed went down to about 5 meg, and upload speed was kind of all over the place. So I restarted it a couple times and it tanked for a while, then it kind of chilled out. So it's been doing pretty good since. So this stream should be okay. On GIMP. Get to this area right here. Now, sometimes when I'm doing stream capture, or say I'm doing TeamViewer is notorious for this. There's a really noticeable lag while working with my tablet if I'm using TeamViewer, and it doesn't always play nice. So this is actually being a little laggy for me right now. No, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. What I should probably do is I should probably close Data Studio. I have plenty of RAM, but you just never know. And let's see here. Just going to lower the value of this a little bit. This is not a super detailed area, so I can get away with a little bit. You see, it'll work. See, I'm gonna put some effects over this, so you're gonna notice that part even less than you do now. So let's see the next part. So dragging's just driving me nuts. Let's see. Too lazy to increase the brush size. Tell you what, this Wacom Bamboo Touch. It's very nice. It's served me quite well. Works exactly like it did when I bought it, I think 5 years ago or so. It's just the stylus is so smooth on the surface and everything. It's really nice. There's really no drag to it at all. I had some sort of Chinese knockoff that I started off with before I got this, and it was really scratchy, and the stylus needed a freaking battery, and I just that was the thing. I ended up replacing it because I left the battery in the stylus for a little bit too long, and the battery leaked a little bit and it corroded the inside. Then, you know, parts of the stylus wouldn't work anymore. So with this one, there's no battery needed. Just you eliminate a point of failure. And it's really responsive when I'm not like doing other tasks at the same time that don't seem to like this when working in GIMP. Again, I don't know why. Don't know why that is. Like if I'm just kind of doing this, whatever, I could have stuff running in the background. It's really when um, it's when I'm capturing the desktop is when I get the issue. So, and I know when you capture or stream the entire desktop, you take a performance hit. Doesn't matter what kind of hardware you have. You're going to take some sort of performance hit. You know, with some machines more than others. And like I said, this machine's like 6 years old, so it's a great machine, but yeah, it's showing its age. And your machine is not going to run the same way as it did, 6 years ago. Things age, and what can you do? So I took care of those. It's looking really good. Looking really good. So let's look at portions that I might want to change here. This is still doing well. Just switch over for a second. We are still streaming. That's very good. I'll just go ahead and refresh this. Seriously, I think I'm the only viewer. But if anybody here on Twitch is like just kind of stopping by, just bear with me. And occasionally I'll get guests over from Facebook or wherever. Right now I'm really just announcing it on Facebook, so I'm not really expecting too much. I'd like to build some sort of viewer base, but I honestly don't know where to start. And especially with all the other stuff that I have going on. I have so much stuff going on. This is more an outlet to, I guess, just show people how I do what I do. So I figured Twitch was the best streaming method, but that's still up in the air. It's certainly most powerful. Let's see. I think I'll work on part of this here. Pull this out. I gotta work a little slower than I usually do because of frickin' lag. TeamViewer especially really does not like what I do in GIMP. I don't understand why. So let's see here. Again, this isn't going to be too apparent. It's a little better. So, we're going to work on effects here. So, thinking about, yeah, let's actually, let's see here. Let's go back to this. I have this habit of not switching back and forth between scenes in OBS because OBS is minimized right now because I only have one monitor set up. So I literally have everything going against me. So, but I keep on going, keep on going. So I darkened her tongue a little bit and I fixed this area here just a little bit. Just this curve here. I'm leaving this part of the arm alone. But I'm going to start on effects now. So probably just under here. I have all these wonderful flux type effects in here. And I also have these in PNG format so that I can just kind of move them around. So what I can do here is, as you can tell, I've been working with a lot of blue. That was from my last project. But I'm going to add another layer here. And just call it effects. And let's see, I'm going to bring this up to 500 size. This is just going to give me an idea of how these effects are going to look if I use them as a brush. They're going to be like a single color. So what I might do instead is work on this with PNGs. Let's see. Have those in the other hard drive. So you got effects, and there's going to be, I have plasma effects too. They're pretty neat. These are all the flux effects that I have. So looking at the colors, I'm thinking blue to violet sort of thing. So and even if I just go with one color here, this stuff has enough gradient effect in it. Let's see, if I do size of these, okay, they're pretty big. So swap this brush back. Come on. Just for information's sake, GIMP does support Photoshop brushes. So if you want to use Photoshop brushes, but you don't want to spend the ridiculous amount of money to use Photoshop or pay monthly for the Adobe Creative Cloud, you just go ahead and grab GIMP and you can use Photoshop brushes in it. Very cool. So you can see here that while this is blue, there are different shades of blue in there, different gradients. So if I'm just looking at this as kind of something to start with. What I'm looking at are angles, arm position and the staff position and stuff like that. And this isn't going to be the only effect. So um, I am going to rotate this. So I might actually, you know what I might do is just mirror it, or I should say just flip it horizontally. It's kind of covering the body. I think I'll actually undo. Shrink that a little bit. And I'm going to bring this up to about 64. I'm going to raise saturation. It's really not making too much of a difference. Shift the color. Just a touch. Okay. Now I can bring this down a little bit, and I'm going to punch up the contrast. The brightness just a little bit. And I'm going to add a filter to this. So this is the type of filter that I used to use in Paint Shop Pro a lot. Let's see here. Kind of got away from me. Somewhere in there. And let's see here. 10, 20. Okay. Is that? Lightning. Oh, okay. Never mind. I was just curious. Let's see. Looking at let's add some sort of a swirl to this. Looking nice and stable there. Let's do this one. Size of that. It's pretty. Let's see here. There's a lot of white in this. I don't think I can actually colorize it too much. It's not really going to be effective. Let's see here. I might actually desaturate it. Okay, add a Gaussian blur to this. I'd actually back up on the whole thing and just leave it white. Let's see here. Soft set layer, top layer, smooth, scale, scale. Okay. Do a little of that. OCD about numbers, so bear with me. And I want to add another general, let's see. I have so many brushes here that, yeah, still looking good. All right, 1 second. Now I refreshed this and I saw something in the chat, but I didn't quite catch it. Something about a solid color. If you're still here, can you repeat that? I probably should have done this chat pop out so that I wouldn't lose it. Sorry about that. Something about the effect being a solid color. Anyway, while I wait on that, I will continue. I promise I'll get right back to that. Gonna bring this back up to 64, so. To do, let's see, what is this one? Yeah, I got particles that, just a basic particle that I want to put in here. See if chat's up again. I don't see anything. But yeah, if you're still here, not exactly sure what you were getting at. I apologize for that. So it's something about something being too much of a solid color. I don't even know when it was posted. I apologize. I'm very bad at this Twitch thing. Only been at it for a couple weeks, so bear with me. But I'm going to maybe add another effect here, possibly. Go more to here or so. And I'm just going to take a look at this particle looks like here. Okay. It's very light. This is actually going to go on top of that. So to cheat it first and see what this is doing. So actually don't like that. $75. It's kind of neat. Maybe not that color, but oh, come on, drag. Dragging up, you're not dragging down. Here you go. Okay. And I'm going to do another effect on top of this, and that's going to take a little finagling. All right. Now let me refresh this thing one more time and see what's going on. For all I know, the person left. Again, I apologize. But yeah, what I think the viewer was getting at was it had to do with the brush. So that first flux effect that I applied was a brush and it was a solid color. So if that's what it is, and yeah, absolutely, you're correct. So if not, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure getting at. But, I'm going to add a lens flare. And this gets a little tricky because if I apply the lens flare to a transparency, it doesn't actually show up. So what I have to do, let's see, I'll call this flare. What I have to do is I have to figure out approximately where this point is on a black layer. Background, fill hole selection. So now we got black. And the thing about this is, well, you'll see when I get to it. It's a light and shadow, I believe. It's flare. So you have this pointer. And wherever you move it is where this lens flare is going to be. So and watch this. If I see how this is like the opacity is at 37. Well, it doesn't actually apply that to this view screen here. So you have to kind of muck around with it a little bit. And it's just you can put it in an approximate area and then kind of move the layer around, but then you may run into a problem like this up in the left-hand corner. If you apply this and then you move the layer, this is still going to be cut off. It only draws out what's within the layer. So kind of have to figure out approximately where it is. And this isn't going to be like this. I'm just going to use a solid color or maybe just wash it out to white. So if you apply this, see where that is? So I have to remember that and then move it accordingly. So there's a little trial and error involved. And the only reason why I'm doing it this way is I don't want to apply it to the rendered image that I have in the bottom. I want to have it have its own layer because I'm preserving that rendered image. So if I move this up to here, I'll get a little bit closer to what I need. See, we're getting closer. Let's try that. Real close. Ah, I went too far. Gone too far. I'm going to leave it at that. So what I do here, bump this up to 100%. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump all the color out of it. And I'm going to apply an alpha to this. So color to alpha from black to alpha. So if you check this out here right now, check this out. Boom. Now I got some lens flare, and I can punch that up too. What I'm gonna do is add some contrast. Hopefully it'll be effective enough. Yeah, it's not really being effective. There's another way around this. Color to alpha. What you can do is you can copy this. See, now this, I can adjust this to say, why don't I leave that at 100? Come on. I can bring that down to 50, even 40. So what I'm doing in effect is, this would be like having one layer at over 100%. So if I do this, let's merge it down, bang. And, you know, if I decide it's too bright, I can just cut back a little bit too. So magic. Magic. This is magic, guys. Check this one more time. What I should really do is just quit transitioning. So let's just stop that right now. Here's our base image. So I'm going to start this over again because I think I had my static image over this whole frickin' time. So bear with me. Got our flux effect done, a plasma effect done, and what I'm going to add next is that lens flare. So I'm going to go over this one more time. I'm recording this too, so all the mess ups will be edited out if I decide to do that. So what we need to do here, again, we're adding a lens flare, and I don't want to apply it to the base image. So what I have to do is I have to fill this black. It's the only way you're going to get that lens flare on there. If it's transparency, it's not going to show up. Still doing good. Okay. So I try to remember where I put it before. Oh, that's right. It saves the last setting. So it actually works out. Just like that. Okay. So again, kill the saturation. And we're going to set black as the alpha channel. So now we have that. And we're going to copy this up to punch it up. And I had this at 40. So that's how you do that lens flare effect. So now we have, okay, I'm just looking this over again, just to make sure this is something that I like. I like it. I like it. And refresh that. This is where that second monitor will come in really handy. I've looked at small portable ones that are USB 3.0. This machine does not have USB 3.0 port, but I could easily buy a card, just slap it in, and I'd be off to the races. I've been looking for one that has like an external power supply, and I only come across those occasionally, like on Rakuten or something. So I saw one like a month ago, and I really thought long and hard about getting it, and ultimately I just decided nah. But I probably should have picked it up. So I don't know when I'm going to see one like that again. Again, all the ones I've seen like on Newegg and stuff are 3.0, which, it means you don't need an external power supply, but, at the same time, like I said, I don't have USB 3.0 on this machine. So I'd have to put in a card, which again is not hard, but, now I got to buy a card. Now I got more drivers to deal with. Now I got more shit to plug in. So it's like, I'm on the fence about it. I'm on the fence about it. So let's go over what we did here. I darkened up the lines where the soles are, just to kind of give it a little more emphasis, make it look like she's actually standing on something. I fixed some clipping around where the staff meets her hand. I fixed a little bit of this area around the side of her breast, which really, it wasn't really a problem. It was just the angle and how some parts of the arm were actually past the line of this breast here, and it it didn't flow well. It almost looked like there was poke through. I know there wasn't, but even the appearance of poke through, sometimes you want to kind of work. And I darkened her tongue just a little bit, and there was a little bit of poke through over here where her ears are. Some bangs coming off to the side that were kind of running to that a little bit. So other than that, 0 drop frames. This is really good. I'm glad I reset that modem a couple times. It was really tanking when I got home. I didn't even realize it because I had enough bandwidth to like do basic browsing stuff, but once I was streaming, it was just like sucking eggs. But we added this flux, and then on top of that, we added like a little plasma ball, and then we did our lens flare over that. And I'm not sure, this might actually be overpowering. I don't know. And something about GIMP, I don't know if it has to do with the color profile or something, but when I actually save this as an image and I browse it in anything else, uh, there ends up being more contrast in the image. So I I'm not really sure why that is. So I have to I have to keep that in mind when I'm doing stuff in GIMP. So anyway, I have everything set here. So all I need is my little John Hancock here, my initials. So what I do here is I give this a bump map. What this does is give it like a little raised 3D effect. And I invert it, usually. So I have this neat little effect. And I'll usually resize this down to a width of 300 pixels for something like this. Usually put it in one of the corners. And then I turn the mode into like hard light or something, just like that. So it looks like it's embossed. You know, it's a neat little look. And that way it's not intruding on the image, but there's still a watermark there, you know. It's not like some people will put a watermark like all the way across this so that doesn't get copied and stuff like that. I can understand why people do that. But with this here, this way, if it does get copied and get passed around, at least my DeviantArt address is on it. And again, it's in a relatively inconspicuous spot. It can be cropped out, you know, but most people aren't going to spend the time to crop it out. Just going to share it or whatever. And this stays even when I do a print. This is here. So even if like somebody buys a print and say they lose my contact information, you still have this here. So somebody could hang this on the wall and 5 years later, like, oh man, you know, I talked to that dude at that Comic-Con. I don't remember, what did I do with his business card? And it's like, oh, he's got an address here. Tap a tap a tap a tap, bang, found me. It's it's great. It's especially when the stuff actually gets circulated. It's free advertising. So yeah, we're closing in on 1 hour here. I'm going to swap this again, and hopefully I'm going to remember to swap it back again. It's just like some basic privacy things, you know, here. But this is still kind of showing. Got one viewer, and that viewer is probably me. I've had some views, but I'm talking about like viewers in right now. It's not the best time to stream, but this is when I work on this stuff, so I'll just have to get over it. That's why I'll at least be moving some of this over to YouTube. So since I've had no drop frames and it doesn't look like I've been kicked, I probably don't need this recording. I could probably just make a couple of highlights. Something. Maybe highlight the whole thing. I don't know. It's alright. Maybe I'll just leave it in flaws and all. It'll save on my bandwidth. But I'm calling this image done. Call this image done. So now I just have to come up with a catchy title for this. So just going to export this as a JPEG. All of my finished stuff is exported as a JPEG. And normally you think, well, you know, JPEG, it compresses stuff and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, this stuff's already at high enough quality. I can print this 1600 by 1280 at like 16 by 20 and still look fantastic. You know? So don't let this stuff fool you about how you need like a super high resolution and super high PPI, to get a really good print. When you're working with stuff like this is good enough. And besides that, if I was rendering at like 4 times the resolution, it would be taking 4 times the amount of time to render it, on a 6-year-old machine. So, but yeah, that's the other thing. I finished my brandy last week, and I'm really happy with that. So I'm calling this done, and it's saved. Really should stop the transitions because I keep forgetting to switch back because I'll talk and I'll be like, oh, look at that. I'm just watching a static screen. Yeah, it's my fault. I get used to it. But this is our finished image. This is our Tiffany badass arcane mage, I'm going to call her. Probably use something with arcane in the title. She's looking really badass. Like that. It's great. I should do this 3D thing more often, I really should. Well, that was a pretty good session. I'd say if I didn't mess up with transitions and stuff, I would have been done in like a half hour. That's actually pretty good for working on effects and stuff like this. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to post the image to all the requisite social media sites I'm on. Pretty much anything imaginable. DeviantArt, Facebook, Twitter. I even have a Flickr gallery and Instagram, all that stuff. So there's that. And this was my last project. Cute Brandy. This was her full image here. Not too happy with the ground, but I think it's the grass that was in here. I didn't really think about that until after I finished it, but because you got like blues and pinks and stuff in here, the green kind of throws it off a little bit. That's that one. So take all of these. I'm going to delete these. So my image is done. This touch-up layer, where I drew a little couple of things here and there. I'm going to merge this down. Then I'm going to write over the original file. What I do with these is I'll make backups of my original rendered files just in case, and I'll sort of rotate them out so that I have like a backup going back about 3 months or so. It's very rare that I have to go back and revisit. If I have to go back and revisit certain files or whatever, but, they're there in case I need. And it almost, most of this stands up on its own without the effects. So my last stream, I was kind of doing a close-up of her face. I have a habit of doing that, and I might just do that anyway. might just keep this lighting and just like kind of do a close-up face shot or something, because I think she deserves it. She looks really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna get off here and post this all over the web. Hopefully I'll get somebody interested and pay me for a commission. I am working